Smaller steps lead to bigger achievements. And you're tuned into your favorite podcast channel, Bookie Swarm. And if you like this book summary, please do like, subscribe, and share. Mini habits are very important part of our lives. You know, the author says the big intentions are worthless if they don't bring results. For example, I can say that I will exercise for 2 hours every day. But if I never do it, the size of the intention doesn't matter. In fact, the intention without action harms self confidence. People have been shown in studies to chronically overestimate their self control ability. These two simple points. First, overestimate, overestimating self abilities. Second, big intentions. These two simple points reveal why so many people struggle to change. They have big ambitions but overestimate their ability to make themselves do what it takes to change. It's a mismatch between desire and the ability. Here are two more facts to consider. Doing a little bit to infinitely bigger and better than doing nothing, mathematically and practically speaking. Doing a little bit every day has a greater impact than doing a lot on one day. How much greater? Profoundly so, because a little bit every day is enough to grow into a lifelong foundational habit. And those are a big deal, as you will see. If these statements seem reasonable to you, the main conclusion to draw is that small intentions are better than bigger intentions. Interesting, right? We are just getting started. Have you ever felt stuck? Have you ever tried to change yourself for the better and failed? Have you done it over and over again and even stopped trying for long periods of time? We have all been there, I think. But let me ask you these more interesting questions. What if your failure to take action and stick to your plan was never a problem with you, but a problem with your strategy? The strategy the most of the world uses and endorses. And what if the science about the human behavior, willpower, and the brain suggested a better alternative for sticking to your plans? One that is rarely practiced or promoted. And what if a shift to new strategy changed everything for you? And no matter how you felt, you knew you could take action, reach your goals, form good habits, and change your life. Welcome to the world of many habits. It all sounds overblown, I know, but you just read my mini autobiography up there. This is exact reality and revelation that transpired for me starting in late 2012. We are quick to blame ourselves for lack of progress, but slow to blame our strategies. Then we repeat them over and over again, trying to make them work. But here is the thing, if you fail using a particular strategy more than a few times, you need to try another one. It doesn't matter if it works for everyone else. If it doesn't work for you, this is a lesson I wish I had learned years ago. I asked you to touch your nose earlier because I wanted to prove something to yourself. I'm going to tell you here a few quick points that will help you become a good person with many habits. You know, the book exists because there are many important things that have been told. Every great accomplishment rests on the foundation of what came before it. When you trace it back, you will see one small step that started it all. Without that one, you will never reach your goal. Suppose you start your mini habit process with one small push up. I had still be struggling to get motivated to go to the gym and to read and write consistently. That push up will lead you to discover the new strategy, which will turn those great benefits. Are you ready to hear the story of one small action that has the potential to change everything? So let's begin. How it began. One push-up challenge. Author wrote in this book, Mini Habit. I think about naming it the Golden Push-up. It was December 28, 2012. The new year was near, and like many others, I reflected on 2012 and was not impressed. I wanted to live better in 2013. My top desire was fitness. I wasn't about to see a New Year's resolution, though I had decided against them a years ago because they have an abysmal 8% success rate. If you make New Year resolution, New Year coming closer, the year 2021 is coming closer. And if you want to make a new resolution for your life, if you want to, you know, leave bad habits and adopt good ones, then I'm sorry, don't wait for the time. Don't wait for New Year to come. It's a time right here, right now. Because New Year resolutions have rarely 8% success rate. So before odds overcome you, try to overcome the odds so that your life becomes good. So what author says, I felt like I had better odds of winning in the Las Vegas than in life. Ever since my later years of high school, I had tried to make exercise a habit, but for 10 years I never stuck, despite my efforts. Those aren't the types of results that instill confidence in oneself. My motivational bursts to change would usually last me about 2 weeks before I had quit for one reason or the another. Sometimes there was no reason. I had just stopped wanting to do something before the arbitrary January 1st starting point associated with the resolutions. I decided to start by exercising right there on the spot for 30 minutes. But I stood motionless. I couldn't get motivated. I went through my usual get motivated routine. Come on, Stephen. True champions put in extra work. I tried listening to up-tempo music, visualizing myself with great beach body, etc. Nothing worked. I felt out of shape, lethargic and worthless to the point that I couldn't do anything. A 30-minute workout looked like Mountain Everest. The idea of exercise was wholly unappalling, was wholly unappealing. I felt so defeated and I was. It wasn't just the time or the effort of a 30-minute workout that intimidated me. It was the total amount of work I needed to put in to reach my fitness desires. It was vast distance between here and there. A year's worth of workout weighed on my mind. I felt guilty, overwhelmed, and discouraged before I even done anything. The turning point. Months earlier, I had read a fantastic creative thinking and problem solving book called Thinker Twice by Michael McKello. One of the creative thinking toys he talks about is called false faces. In false faces, you consider the opposite of what you are currently thinking and see what creative ideas emerge from that. A crude example, instead of building a skyscraper, What if you built a structure deep into the earth? This generates creative ideas by forcing your mind to zoom out and see the spectrum of possibilities. I had a problem to solve, and this technique popped into my head. So I thought about the opposite of 30-minute workout. Eating ice cream and watching TV would be one opposite of exercise. Then I considered that a full 30 minutes just seemed like such a huge challenge in that moment. Like I said earlier, a Mount Everest challenge. Another opposite I decided could be workout size. What if instead of this big 30-minute commitment of sweat and discomfort, I did a single push up? I would have no requirement to do more. Just one push up, just one push up. It was true opposite of my Mount Everest workout. I laughed out the idea. Literally, how pathetic. One push up isn't going to help anything. I really need to put in more work than that. But every time I switched back to my first plan, I couldn't do it. After I got tired of failing to do the 30-minute workout, I thought, whatever, I will do one push up. I got down on the ground, did one push up, and changed my life for good. When I got push up into position, when I got into push up position, I noticed it was exactly the same as I start to actual 30-minute workout. I did my push up, my shoulder dropped and popped. My elbow needed WD 40. It felt like my muscles were waking up from a 24-year nap. But I did a few more. Since I was already in a position, every push-up was an enhance to my my underused muscles and stubborn brain. So this podcast, what author talks about mini habits, the importance of mini habits. Some small steps, if taken well before it is too late, the life will bring wonders. Life will be great. Author gives an example of starting with the one push-up challenge. Author was a fitness freak. He wanted to stay free. He wanted to stay fit and alive. So he was thinking of taking up this push-up challenge. He wanted to do 30-minute workout, but he couldn't stick to the plan. So finally, he started to make it a habit, make it part of his life. So he started with one push-up challenge, and after months of hard work, Arthur was seeing the result. What do habits look like in the brain? Neural pathways are the communication channel in the brain, and these pathways are what habits look like in the physical world. Here is how it works. Once a habit is assigned neural pathways, it is triggered by a thought or external cue. An electrical charge fires along the pathway in your brain, and you will have an urge or a desire or thought to engage in the habitual behavior. For example, if you take a shower immediately after waking up every day, you will have a neural pathway associated with the behavior. You will wake up, the shower neurons will fire, and you will walk to the shower like a zombie. No thinking required. This is the magic and the curse of having habits. Depending on if they are good or bad, as a habit becomes more ingrained, the associated neural pathway will literally get thicker and stronger. Are you getting my point? Knowing this information simplifies and clarifies our goal. We want to create and strengthen specific neural pathways with repetition. It sounds easy when put this way, but we will have to overcome innate human limitations to do it. Many standard habit strategies you will find don't take these proven limitations into account, underestimate how severe they are, or make vague and unhelpful statements like, it's going to be hard. You have got to want it. Without a solid plan to handle these limitations, you will suffer from burnout or inconsistency and give up early. Even if you go in fired up, can you tell I'm a bit anti-motivational? That's because it failed me for 10 years, but we'll get you that. And here is a question listeners will ask: how long does it take to form a new habit? Before I go ahead, listeners, please subscribe to my YouTube channel Bookish Worm. You will find very important interesting book summaries there, and you will learn a lot. Like, subscribe, and share. Please press the bell icon and subscribe my channel for many more book summaries and give me support and encouragement. It depends. Anyone who tells you differently is repeating what they are heard, what they have heard. It's not 21 or 30 days. For Pete's and everyone else's sake, I want to put this up on every billboard. The 21-day habit myth was possibly started by Dr. Maxwell Malch, a plastic surgeon. Dr. Malch reportedly found that amputees took about 21 days to get used to the loss of limb. So he urged that 21 day was long, and how long it took for people to adjust to any new life changes. Really, doc, I would argue that coping with losing a limb or trying to drink more water are not the same type of experiences. And I will add that you are both quite different from trying to do 150 push-ups a day. The most cited viable study on habit formation during was published in the year 2009 in the European Journal of Social Psychology. Each participant chose an eating, drinking, or activity behavior to carry out daily in the same context. For example, after breakfast for 12 weeks. And what did they find? The average time for a behavior to become a habit was 66 days, but the range was wild from 18 to 254 days, showing that there is huge variation in people's time to reach habit automaticity. To reach habit automaticity. And that it can end up taking a very long time in some cases. 21 and 30-day challenges are popular, but they are highly unlikely to form many types of habits. Drinking a glass of water every day could fall into 21-day window, but something more challenging like 100 sit-ups daily could take a couple hundred days or more to become a habit. That's bad news. The good news is that habits are on snap off. If you do 100 sit ups for 60 days, the day 61 will be much easier for you than day 1 was. Even if it's completely automatic, yet building a habit is like riding a bike up a steep incline that levels out, peaks, and goes down. To start, you have to push with all the force your legs can muster. It gets progressively easier after that, but you must keep paddling until you reach the top of the hill, or you will go backwards and lose your progress. This is what author talks about. The best reason for you to increase your requirement would be if you find yourself only meeting the minimum day after day. I would still give it at least a month before you try this. if you go a long time without doing extra beyond your easy commitment, then many habits might not be as effective for you as others. Don't forget the safety net. It will still develop into habit, and a small habit is relatively easy to scale up. If you work better with the rigid structure, it is something to consider. But until a behavior is a habit, it is risky to increase your requirement. If you do, I recommend, and the author recommends, doing it very gradually. Start with small steps. Once you have a habit, you can experiment with high requirements, such as my normal size gym requirement after 6 months of doing one push-up daily. Since you are building off a strong base at that point and have built up your willpower, bigger requirements are much more attainable. But again, I would be in no rush to do this. If you are getting good results with your mini requirements, it may be that you need 60 days of meeting bare minimum before you can leverage the habit. This is how it was with the reading for me. As noted, day 57 is when I saw a big improvement. This is what author says. The first started with one push-up per day, and then for about 6 months I was only with one push-up. I also exercise the gym. This is what author says. So how you can apply these habits? The mini habits is more than just a system to teach you how to develop healthy new habits. It's a guide for self-control. How you know about you, how you know how your brain works, why motivation fails, and how to manage your willpower to make it last. Use these techniques for any situation in which you want to take action. The better you get a mini habit, the more success you will have in all the areas of life. That's all there to say for now. I hope the end of this book is the new beginning of a very exciting mini habit journey for you. And I wish you a very small success over and over again. And subscribe my YouTube channel Bookishwarm. Share, comment. That's all. Bye bye.